Hello there. Remember, I spoke the other day about these very large battery storage units for electricity. Well, I was doing a little bit of research on that because the idea intrigued me. I just wondered how they managed to convert the DC electricity that was stored in the batteries, how they managed to convert that into three-phase AC. Well, as you know, I used to work on very large container ships. On one of the very large container ships that I worked on had an enormous, great big engine, and that also had a shaft generator. This is something that was powered at the end of the engine, and it could be engaged and disengaged electronically. You didn't have to charge any electricity, i.e. when you were coming in and out of port, when you needed all the power in the engine and you didn't want anything to hold it up, as it were. Anyway, this shaft generator only span at somewhere in the region of about 80 RPM. But in the order to produce electricity, it needs to be more efficient. It may actually run at 60 odd hertz or a combination of 60 hertz. Normally our ship's generators, they're running at roughly about 800 RPM, maybe 780 RPM, so that it can be adjusted. So yeah, this shaft generator, to get the speed of the actual generator up to speed, it had an exhaust gas turbine. This took excess exhaust pressure out of the exhaust pipe. Yet we had 3 turbochargers for the engine, but anything excess, when we were at full speed, anything excess would get put back into the shaft generator, and it would actually speed up using its sun and gear planets. It would actually speed up the generator part so that it was more efficient at producing electricity. Now this thing would produce DC. Now this DC was then converted into square wave AC, and it then went through a pony motor to convert it into sinusoidal AC, this is what we get in the house. If you look at your wires outside when you're driving down the motorway, you see all these pylons with 2 sets of 3 wires, 2 at the top, 2 at the middle, 2 at the bottom. Well, that is your 440 volts, and between each wire, so the top one and the middle one, you might get 220. So between the middle one and the bottom one, you'll also get 220, 240, something like that. And again, if you get between the bottom one and the top one, you'll get 240 volts. But for industry, they'll use 440 volts at 60 hertz, or in the UK it's 50 hertz. On board ship we use 50 hertz as well, but the Americans, I think they use 60 hertz, but they lower the voltage but increase the current. Anyway, that's beside the point. So getting back onto what I was thinking about these giant batteries, is how they convert it back into sinusoidal AC. Well, they use inverters. So they convert obviously you'll have 3 power supplies to get your 3 phases, and that will go back into the grid. So each phase will then be converted into a sine wave, and then it goes down the pipelines to your house. Oh, the sun's come out. Lovely. Yeah, so the it's rather bright. Yeah, so that's how they do it. You do get a few losses, transformer losses and all that kind of stuff, but it's really quite efficient. As these batteries are fixed, they're not likely to get punctured from debris on the road like you would get in an electric car. I think these things are absolutely fantastic. They're using, as I found out, they're actually using solar panels, excess power that's generated by solar, and also they're using the excess power generated by wind farms. So they are absolutely fantastic. I didn't realise that we had so many. Doing some research that I've done over the week, last couple of days actually, I found out that there's quite a few of these very large capacity batteries that are around the place. The biggest one is in Cottingham, like I said, but there are others along the banks of the River Humber. I know because we went out to a dog rescue place not so long ago, and we passed one. And I didn't actually realise what it was until now, when I've done some research and I discovered that's what it is. I just didn't know what it looked like. It just looked like office blocks, but it weren't office blocks. Obviously, they were battery blocks. Anyway, so that's it for those large storage batteries. Isn't it amazing? I do find it absolutely fantastic. And of course, as new batteries are coming along, we're getting sodium batteries, we're getting sulfur batteries, we're getting zinc water batteries, and we're getting diamond batteries. Everything's coming together to make life a bit greener. Yes, I don't agree with the green agenda about stopping CO2, because if we do stop CO2, how are we going to get the CO2 into the atmosphere? We're going to have to start vaporizing chalk. The chalk was taken out of the atmosphere. It was actually CO2 was washed in onto the land. From the land it was washed into the sea, and the sea creatures turned it into skeletons, and then they put that skeletons back into the beaches at Dover. The White Cliffs is all CO2 stored as calcium carbonate, as it were. Now, anyway, I digress slightly. But yeah, so that's a fascinating story, I think, about how we're actually getting the best use out of our wind farms. And if anyone knows where I live in Hull, you'll know out at sea we have some of the largest wind farms out there. And if you follow me on my journeys around the UK, you'll see that in the Channel, Bristol Channel, there's loads of wind farms, and also off of Liverpool you'll find loads of wind farms. Between the UK and Ireland, there's lots and lots of wind farms. So no doubt the places like Wales and Manchester, Liverpool, Blackpool, they'll all be getting these massive, great big battery storage units, which will, in like I said, it's an emergency supply. So when there's a football match on, not that it happens very much these days because everyone records it, but when there's a football match on and there's half time or something, everyone goes and puts a kettle on to make a cup of tea. Or in most cases, I would imagine, they'd open the fridge and get a beer out. Anyway, that's me rabbiting on. So that's about it for now. Catch you all on the next one.